You may have heard that there's an Amazon basic filter that replaces the Brita filter. So ConsumerLab went out and purchased both and tested them to see really how they compare. I'm Dr. Tod Cooperman of ConsumerLab.com, and I'm going to tell you what we found with these filters, and you can see the full report on our site if you're a ConsumerLab member, which includes results for other filters such as Berkey and Zero Water, Pure, and many others. First, both will fit fine in a Brita pitcher, such as this one. Here's the Amazon filter. You just have to align it, slides right in. The Brita filter goes in fine as well. And Amazon Basic also makes a pitcher that goes along with this filter, although you don't need to buy them together. One thing you notice with these filters, in addition to the fact that they don't look quite alike, is that the Amazon Basic filter is really full of carbon particles. You can hear them shaking around in there. It's kind of like a pepper shaker. In fact, if you put your hand underneath, you'll actually get carbon particles coming out onto your hand. I don't know if you can see them. They're very small. The Brita Elite filter is kind of a solid state filter, nothing to shake around in there. So when we tested these products, after flushing them through a few times, we found that the number of carbon particles in the water with the Amazon Basic product numbered in the thousands, actually over 20,000 per liter. With the Brita filter, actually it was in the hundreds. But it brings up a good point that with really any filter, you want to flush it many times before you start drinking the water that you've filtered through them. Both filters actually did a great job of removing chlorine from water, and chlorine is added to kill microbes, so it's important to have chlorinated water, but you can remove it before you drink it, as it will improve the taste. Both also did a great job at removing lead and other heavy metals like mercury and cadmium, although neither really did a good job of removing arsenic, so if that's a known problem with your water, there are other filters that do a much better job, and you'll see that in our report. Now, fluoride is also added to water intentionally as it can strengthen teeth, and you really don't want a filter that's going to remove fluoride unless there's excessive amounts of fluoride in water, which can happen in certain water systems. These filters remove a bit of it. Brita removes about 10%, and Amazon removes about 25% based on our tests. Now, there's a growing interest in microplastics that are in water and trying to remove those. Brita actually claims to remove over 99%. We found that it only removed about 15% of microplastics in our tests. Amazon doesn't really make a claim, though we found that it removed about 30% of microplastics. So I wouldn't count on either of them to really remove the majority of microplastics from water. We have found better results with other filters. Interestingly, Brita's Elite filter had replaced its Long Last filter, which we had tested in 2020, and found that that actually removed about 96% of microplastics. Unfortunately, we're not seeing those results with this filter. Something we didn't test for in the laboratory, but is also of concern, are the forever chemicals known as PFAs. Brita does claim to remove them. Amazon makes no claim to remove PFAs. Now, one thing that catches a lot of people's attention with the Amazon filter is that it costs a lot less, about 1/3 the price of the Brita Elite filter. The problem, though, is that it only is guaranteed to filter about 40 gallons of water versus 120 gallons with the Elite filter. So it's a wash in terms of the cost, because this costs 1/3 as much, but it filters 1/3 of the amount of water. But that also points out a benefit of the Elite filter is that you won't have to change it quite as frequently as the Amazon Basic filter. So in short, the Amazon filter certainly can replace the Brita filter, but the cost will be about the same. Each will remove chlorine and lead, but the Amazon filter is going to take more of fluoride out of your water, and also you are going to see a lot more carbon particles in your water, at least early on, with the Amazon Basic filter. For these reasons, my choice between the two would be the Brita Elite filter. Now, if your water is particularly contaminated with, say, arsenic, or it has a very earthy taste and has very high levels of total dissolved solids, or has high fluoride, you would need really a different type of filter. And again, if you see our report, you'll see other brands that can do a better job with those specific issues. But either of these, for most water systems, will do the trick in removing chloride taste and some of the most concerning issues such as lead.